Welcome back. You're with Countdown. Let me welcome in a special guest, Sandeep Bharadwaj, CEO and Head Equity Strategy at Tar Capital and Security. Sandeep, good to have you on the show. What do you make of the news now, or the expectation of a big booster package coming the way of India Inc. in the stock markets? There could be duty cuts, there could be interest rate cuts, and there could be sector-specific SOPs as well being announced.
Hi, good morning, Prashant. Good morning, Namrata. Before we talk about the duty cuts and the SOPs for the economy and for the industry, I think we should take a step back and not talk about markets in isolation. Because the present state that we are in, markets are a function of the economy and the broader participants, that is you, me, common man, everybody involved. We should be talking about, in fact, where are we heading? Because we cannot have a strong economy or the thoughts about the strong economy when the leadership at the top, the people who govern our country, are weak and they do not inspire confidence in any way. So I'll take a step back and then come back and answer your question. I've been speaking to a lot of market participants, be it my colleagues in other firms, people on the buy side, foreign institutional investors. And today, the biggest concern is about how are we going to tackle the problems in our country. Because if this is not addressed, then whatever SOPs that you're talking about to boost the economy, or be the tax cut and duty cuts, it all becomes irrelevant in the present state that we are in. The thing is, the confidence level the confidence and the faith in the government has just vanished at any level that you talk about. Be it a common man, I'll talk to you about, be it right from the peon in my office, to my colleagues, to the senior colleagues in other firms, and just any taxpayer or just anybody on the street. In the last 3-4 days, we have been talking to people randomly on the street, asking about them, what do you think? People are scared. People don't have any confidence in our leadership. People talk about the level of corruption that we are seeing. So how can we grow? I mean, that's the question that we all need to ask. We just cannot have this economic. So far we have grown well, but the moment the environment is not conducive to growth, moment is not even conducive to living. My colleagues or anybody, the average Mumbaiker who leaves work in the morning, is not even sure whether he'll go back home alive that particular day. Right. So this is what we should be talking about. People like you and me, when you have jobs to do, we interview people and find out whether people are appropriate for the job or not. But it doesn't seem to be happening for the leaders of our country. Now take the example of our previous Home Minister. I mean, how many people had to die before he had to resign? The question is, what are the requirements? What is the basic qualification for a politician to become a minister? Now, it seems to me, and it's just not my view, once again I'm reiterating, Namrata, it's just not me. It's almost, you can talk about an average taxpayer, an average common man. This is what we think. The three most important qualifications or traits or requirements for a politician to be a minister is, one, that he has to be a yes man. Second, he has to have a very close proximity to the senior leaders in his party. And third, he has to be incompetent. These are the three things where people fit in to become the, say, Home Minister, or be it any ministry. How can we as a nation inspire confidence when we ourselves are not sure about what's going to happen next? Right. We did some research in terms of how, if average. Right. So how do we go about inspiring confidence?
Right. Sandeep, your point is extremely well taken. Just try and look forward for us a little bit, because you've been, in touch with a lot of people, not only from the fund management industry, your peer set, but also the common people, which basically tells you the confidence levels, as you mentioned, which is not much to talk about right now. What does the government do from here to bring confidence, which is the real key right now in this market, and perhaps the overall economy as well, because we're talking about growth here, because without security there is no growth, as you said. What does the government do to bring it back?
the government, the leaders should be aware that the time has gone for sycophancy and incompetent people to govern us. They should look within themselves in terms of how competent the people are. We did some research in terms of finding out an ideal candidate for the position of Home Ministry so that they can inspire confidence amongst the people. And before I say the name or anything, I need to be very clear that we don't have any personal, we don't know this person, no, personally, or anyway, none of the people who had this debate and did the research know this person. But one name that really stands out is that of Mr. Nikhil Kumar. He is the MP from Aurangabad with impeccable track record. He is the ex-chief of the NSG, ex-chief of the Delhi police. And he's got the administrative experience, and he's a very honest man. Somebody like him, if he goes for the job, at least he knows what he's doing. You know, people, at least he'll be at the, he'll be very diligent in his job, not like the previous Home Minister when they're busy changing suits, when they're visiting different sites of bomb blasts, you know. So this is what the government should be doing. And the second most important thing that the government should now be thinking about is the accountability. You know, everybody knows, even the foreign investors who invest in our country, they say, where is the accountability in your country? It seems that the law is there for an average citizen, and politicians seem to be above the law. You cannot have a system where the leader should lead by example, and the example is not even worth talking about. So the fact is, the accountability factor has to come in with each and every ministry. We need to know where the taxpayers' money goes. You know, in Rajiv Gandhi, he said 90% of the tax money vanishes in the system. Mr. Vajpayee said 95%. I think we are close to 98 or 99% of the funds that are earmarked for public spending, they just vanish into the system. And what vanish? I mean, we all know where it goes.
Some of this taxpayers' money, sorry to cut you short, Sandeep, but do you feel that some of this taxpayers' money should go into the security needs? It should be governed by a central agency, make this into priority, then look at infrastructure, roads, projects, etc. First allocate a percentage, a set percentage of every Indian's money into making this country safe.
I agree, Namrata. We already have that in place, unfortunately. That's what I'm trying to say. I mean, look at the defense budget. It exceeds 3% of our GDP. Look at our Maharashtra police, Mumbai police allocation. It crossed 1,000 crores. Look at the research and analysis, the raw budget. We have the allocations in place. We have a lot of money in this country. But the fact that is that money is not being utilized where it should be utilized. That's what I'm trying to say, that we, just because allocating and putting a number will not solve the problem, because we have already done that. The kind of tax collections that we have seen in this country in the last 6, 7, 8 years, there has been a direct proportion, the link, if you see that, you know, I'm telling you something just off tangent here, but please bear with me. The thing is, the Swiss Private Banking Association, every year it comes up with a report of how much money they have deposited in the Swiss banks from each country, the country-wise deposits. You know, in 1995, $150 billion deposits were from India. In 2002, this amount increased to $250 billion. And in March 2008, I mean, just take it easy. The number which I'm going to tell you is $1.4 trillion. Our GDP is of $1 trillion. This 1.4 trillion number is about 12 times the size of our annual budget. And you know, a lot of people question the validity of this. I was in Geneva for a hedge fund conference and had the opportunity to interact with a lot of private bankers from the Swiss banking community. And they are saying that this is mandatory from the Swiss government, that they need to come out with this report, and say the numbers are very much correct. He says, your politicians, under the pretext of attending Davos or something, they come in chartered planes with 50 kg trunks full of Indian currency. And you say, you think that your Indian currency is not convertible? Well, hey, in Switzerland, it's fully convertible. So you understand what I'm trying to tell you?
Right.
You know, this is to the extent if you start robbing the country. So.
Right.
So if you start robbing the country, all the allocation is there. Namrata, everything, all the money is there. But it's not being spent in the right way.
Right, Sandeep Bharadwaj, some extremely good points you made there, and of course I hope some of the policy makers have been listening to you talking. We'll play your views and thoughts through the day today as well. Try and get more of this going. NDTV Profit, by the way, is also running a campaign called Ideas for Change, which does precisely this. If you're a member of the civil society and perhaps need and have ideas which could make a difference at a time like this, please write into us at ideasforchange@ndtv.com. We'll voice it on this channel.
भाई बड़ा प्रोग्राम को बैक